Virgo, welcome to your moving on reading. I hope you are well. I hope you are fabulous. I have just recently devised a new board, calling it Moving On. And at this time, I anticipate to rotate it fairly often, just like the Celtic Cross readings, yours and theirs, Intimate Tarot, etc. And here's why. I love that the collectives trust me so much with their intricate and intimate energies that are love and so forth for oneself, their person, their connection. It's beautiful. You guys trust me so much with those intimate energies, and I thank you. You know, in-depth readings, I want to see what's going on with me, with them, etc. And they are powerful, and they will continue to remain as such. However, it has been my observation that in readings that are meant to be more individualized, such as Celtic Cross and the monthly overviews, those connections keep coming up, and they tend to dominate the readings, and I understand that. People's love energies, their love lives are very, very important. They put a lot of value into them. I understand. But I wanted to create a board that better emphasized the self. Okay? So, I'm calling it Moving On. And it doesn't have to be love, guys. It's anything in our lives that we feel we are being held back from. What's going on with us? What is it we're doing and why? Where it is we want to be and how we're not getting there. How do we move on? And that's anything. Life goals, pathways, purposes, thoughts, ideologies, feelings, all of it. So, all that to being said, the emphasis is moving on, moving forward, however it is you want to think of it. But do keep in mind, this reading type, I'm not going to say they, and I'm not going to say them, I'm going to say you. So like with all general readings, take what resonates, leave what does not, but there will not be an intended reversal. None. This is about you. No more them or they. So if you're looking for that reading where it focuses on them, this is not that reading. Okay? We're going to see good things, and we will see not so easy things. The point is that we need to know. All right? Real self-examination. In order to get us to where we need to be, we have to look at ourselves. And as I often advocate, and it is true, it is a universal truth, all things begin with the self. So if we well and truly say we want to move on or we're moving forward, we need to see how. What does that mean? Are we achieving it or are we just telling ourselves a lie? What's going on? Let's find out. I'm going to start off by pulling you a Moonology Manifestation Oracle card. Show me Virgo, show me Virgo, show me Virgo, show me Virgo. These are intended to be more about self-empowerment in our direction. Assess the situation. Taurus got the same one, and I promise you I've shuffled this many times in between readings. I washed all the cards in between readings to prevent overlap. It's like, oh, look, you're pulling the exact same cards as this other sign did. Yeah, that's because you didn't shuffle. You didn't shuffle the deck. That's why, a couple of times. So, my point is, even though this is your card, that is, of course, your symbol, Virgo, right there. First quarter moon in Virgo, assess the situation. I will say, if you have Taurus in your chart, you might want to check theirs out. But yeah, assessing the situation. Okay, we see one person in observation of a large structure. We've managed to accomplish a great deal, but we're at that point now where we need to sit and take a look at things to see if the construction of what we're looking at is on point. If not, what are we going to do about it? Do we need to change something about our perspective, how we're contributing to something, or is everything fine? And we can keep on keeping on. But right now, we're in a period of assessment. What have we managed to accomplish? What am I looking at? Is everything where I want it to be? If so, great. If not, why? Let's get into it. Show me what I need to see, please. What is going on for Virgo? Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. This is, what is this? This is the Enchanted Dream Tarot? As I was telling Taurus, you know, I'm reasonably an intelligent person, but my short-term working memory, not so great. Not so great. Oh my goodness. Show me what I need to see, please, for Virgo. What's going on, please, for Virgo? What's going on, please, for Virgo in Their goals, moving on, moving forward, moving on, moving forward, moving on, moving forward. Where to begin? The Devil. Okay. We're going to throw, I haven't done Capricorns yet, but if you got Capricorn in chart, check theirs out as well. Okay, step 1. Let's look at those bad habits. Let's look at those patterns. What are we up to? Are these fears? Okay. Are these things that we need to let go of? Are these the things that hold us back? Or the things that we get ourselves caught up into so we can distract ourselves from our life goals and purposes? Feelings that we need to confront. Page of Pentacles. What am I investing in exactly? 6 of Wands. Hidden energies influencing. 6 of Wands. Beautiful. Sense of accomplishment, to see and to be seen. Could be ego. We shall see. We shall see. But it's something that influences you, and hopefully it's positive. Positive disposition. A happy front, a happy face. I want to be a force. I want to see and to be seen. I want to have confidence. Okay. Okay, the Emperor. Qualities that give you strength. A sense of achievement. I can get it done. I'm strong-willed. I'm in control. Okay. Lessons that need to be learned about pain and ending. 10 of Swords. Why things happen. Why they happen at all. How are we influencing it? What do we need to learn about our endings and the pain attached to it? Knights of Wands. In your future path. Your energy is starting to pick up. It wants to express itself, I believe, in some way. There is some energy behind you that suggests, I need to get going. Okay. I need to express myself in some way that makes me excited, that puts me out there, that puts my energetic mark on the map, as it were. Okay. Let's see it. I hope that you get to it. I've got some control factors here. I have some energies that might be very strong-willed that you are attached to, but not necessarily good for you, that might keep you from moving forward. Let's take a look at that. Let's start right there with that Devil. Okay, show me the Devil, please. Show me the Devil, please. Strong insistence, a very strong feeling, one that makes us uncomfortable. Okay, patterns, I don't know. Show me the Devil, please. But the more we understand our particular devil, and we all have one, and if you say you don't, I'm going to call you a liar, and I don't know why you're watching tarot. But yeah, no, we all have a devil in our own way. All right? The more we understand it, the better we can understand ourselves. Show me that Devil, please, for Virgo. Show me that Devil, please, for Virgo. Step 1, acknowledgement. What's going on? 8 of Wands, communication. 9 of Wands, blockage. 6 of Swords, moving on. Oof. 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 Oh, gosh. I got some pride in you. I got some pride in you. I got some anger in you, too. You're angry and you're frustrated. It's like I refuse to speak about that. I won't address it. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to leave it alone. Something angered you considerably and you feel like you shouldn't have to speak to it. That's pride. That's pride. I saw a little bit of it in there with your hidden energies that influences you. 6 of Wands isn't necessarily always ego, but it is that sense of I want to be seen, and I want to be seen this way. You know, I want to have favorable recognition for my efforts. But it's also that sense of, yeah, check me out. You know, and it's not just a sexual attraction thing. It's like, look at me, acknowledgement, validation. Okay. And there is a part of you, is step 1, that says I shouldn't have to address this. There's something in you that say I don't have to speak to it, I don't have to talk about it. I don't know why. But it's one of the things that's holding you back. It's like there's something here I don't need to address. It's actually quite important with the Devil there. And I do believe it's pride that says I don't have to speak about this, I don't have to address it, I can just ignore it. Why? It's something that you feel that you don't have to explain yourself for, but in fact it's probably the first thing you should do. I don't know what it is. But it's a communication that's worthy of happening. It's a conversation that's worthy of happening. Who it involves in terms of that conversation, I don't know, but I think it starts with you first. There's a conversation within you that needs to happen. Something here is like, I don't have to explain myself and I don't have to address that. It kind of puts you on edge. I shouldn't have to explain myself. I don't have to explain myself to you or to anyone. And it's kind of like I want to just ignore that. What is it? I don't know. We'll see as we go along. I'm terribly curious about what it is you say you don't have to explain yourself about. But it is a matter of pride to you. And it is kind of pattern. It's a pattern here. I shouldn't have to explain that to anyone. I don't owe anyone a damn thing. I don't owe anyone an explanation. It's not really about owing anyone an explanation. It's about owing you an explanation. There are some things in here that you do not like to look at about yourself. Okay? And I can understand that feeling that you have. I shouldn't have to explain myself to anyone. Fine. But you should explain things to you. Be honest with you. First. There's something in here you avoid like the devil, and it is your devil. I don't need to confront myself on that. Fuck no. Block that shit. And yet you feel compelled to speak to it, even while you try to exit it. I don't have to explain that. Your feelings to confront, Page of Pentacles, super small. About what you invest in, what you choose to speak to, what it is you choose not to speak to, what you choose to put yourself into, and what you choose not to put yourself into. No matter how small. Some of that Page of Pentacles, some of that Page of Pentacles. Some of that Page of Pentacles, please. The feelings that need to be confronted. What was it? This little thing that was growing in you. What was this? Little guy growing in you. Nine of Swords, anxiety. Ten of Wands, frustration, stress. Seven of Cups, options in love. Oh my. Okay. Okay. There was a huge growing sense of frustration, anxiety, pain, anger that grew in you regarding some sort of love opportunity here. You didn't invest in it, and that's fine. If you didn't want to invest in love, you didn't want to invest in love. But you're angry that it's gone. Very little was put into it with the Page of Pentacles. You said it was too hard. Okay? I understand. And yet there was a fear of loss for it from the very beginning. Which means in some way you were energetically attached to something. Emotionally. You put so little into it with the Page of Pentacles. And you say, I don't have to, it's too hard. Okay, that's fine. I'm not giving you a hard time for not investing in love. If you weren't ready for it, you weren't ready for it. If you didn't have the means or abilities to invest in it, fine. But you're showing me nevertheless frustration that it's not there anymore. Why? That Six of Wands is in your hidden energies. You're influencing you. Show me that Six of Wands, please. Show me that Six of Wands. Show me that Six of Wands, please. Show me that Six of Wands, please. These are feelings you need to confront. You may not have had, this is the confrontation piece right here. In order for you to move on, you're going to have to confront the love energies you say you didn't have time for, and that it was too hard, but nevertheless it stressed you when it exited, or something. How little you put into it. The Hermit, you, the Hierophant, Eight of Pentacles, Six of Wands, your influencing energy is that you would very much like to heal. You'd like to be a stand-up, do-right Virgo. You have very strong spiritual energy in you, attached to you. You have a strong sense of pride here, very much so. You want to be seen for your accomplishments, not for what it is you haven't accomplished. The stuff that you feel you have not accomplished is what you feel you need to block because it hurts you. Okay, these are the things that I didn't do or say, and I don't feel like I owe anyone an explanation. Just please see me for this. See me for this. See me for my commitment. See me for my strengths. Don't see me for my weaknesses. You have a lot of phenomenal strengths in you, and you're saying there's nothing I can't do if I want to put my work into it, but I need to be seen. See me for this. See me for this. See me as someone who's being diligent. See me as one who is reliable and resourceful and loyal. See me as someone who is spiritually connected. See me as a healer. See the work I put into myself. This is what I want you to see. This is what influences you. at all times. See me for these things. I'm a good person. I'm a strong person. I'm a quality person. Give me this recognition. Don't look at me for the stuff I've done wrong. Look at me for everything I've done right. Yeah, we got some pride in here. Being a true owner of ourselves and our experiences, we have to admit the things we've done wrong just as much as we've done right. That's the true yin and yang. I understand these parts of me exist as much as my other stuff. Honey, it's not about your good self winning over your bad self. It's like, how are you integrating these concepts? It's like you're trying to keep some parts of you completely separate. The parts of you that feel like you don't owe anyone an explanation, okay, why you shut things down. You don't feel like you have to talk about it. My losses are my losses, and by the way, it wasn't even a loss. I didn't take it seriously, whatever this was, and I shouldn't have to be stressed out about it. I didn't put anything of myself into it to begin with. So I see two completely different Virgos. The one that wants the recognition so badly for being a strong Virgo, for being self-empowered, for being spiritually inclined, a hard worker. You want those recognitions. But there's parts of you that you don't want other people to see. The one that's like, if this stresses me out, I'm going to push it away. If I don't like where this is going, I'm going to reject it. If it's complicated or too hard, I'm going to leave it alone. Because those would be perceived as weaknesses, right? Not my strength. Honey, you getting familiar with your weaknesses is a form of strength. Okay. We all have those sides to ourselves we're not happy with. But we acknowledge it, we incorporate it, we learn more about it instead of rejecting it. You know? There are things here that when they provoke a certain level of intensity in you, it's like you shut it down. You won't invest in it. And I understand if something's not for you, it's not for you. But you're telling me you reject things before they can reject you, and that comes from a place of fear. Other than that, you're like, see me for everything else I've done. Don't see me for this. See me for this. Give me the recognition for this. Don't just look at me and see all the things I've walked away from because it was too hard or because it provoked fear in me. All the things I didn't invest in, even though it stresses me out. Don't look at that. Don't criticize me for that. Just look at me for this. So I know you have very strong influential energy that suggests you're a spiritual being and that you're wise and that you're a hard worker and you want people to see that. What you don't want them to see are your flaws. And I got news for you, baby. We all got them. But the Virgo I'm looking at, you avoid your flaws like the plague. There's so much frustration in you that if something's too hard or presents itself as scary or as uncertain, you shut it down before it has a chance to hurt you or shut you down. And that comes from fear. Qualities that give you strength. You like to be in control. The Emperor. You like that sense of power. I understand. But we cannot confuse control with happiness. Okay. Show me the Emperor, please. Show me the Emperor, please. Show me the Emperor, please. The Moon. Knight of Pentacles. Nine of Cups. You've had a very hard time understanding what makes you happy. You've had a very hard time understanding what makes you happy and emotionally fulfilled at the personal level. So you tend to avoid it. And you do tend to gravitate towards things that you can't control. Because it makes you feel accomplished. It makes you feel correct. It makes you feel like you're do right. I'm a spiritual do right human being. This is what I stand up for. Recognize me for that. But other areas of your life, where it involves confrontation of the self and your weaknesses, you shut it down. On the emotional level specifically. I think you're afraid of yourself sometimes. It feels like you're afraid of yourself sometimes, particularly if it involves your personal arena, your internal world. You have a habit of taking what makes you feel really good and putting it under the moon. What makes you personally happy. You tuck it away, nice and quiet. Okay? You have a tendency to deny that which makes you happy or gives you pleasure. You're saying that does not speak to control. You seem to think it's a strength to kind of suppress the stuff that makes you feel good. Like if I don't gravitate towards that, I can't get in trouble. Right? I always got to be in control. I have to put my sense of empowerment and do right energy forward for all to see. This is what I want people to see. I want people to see my accomplishments. I want people to recognize me for that. Hey, that's that spiritual, work hard, do right, always has the solutions Virgo. I don't want them to see my weaknesses. Some of you have a pattern of exiting things before it has a chance to exit you. Or you don't get involved on the emotional level, even though it kind of calls to you. It's easier to self-sacrifice my sense of personal pleasure and happiness if it means everyone has a good perception of me. And again, that's pride. We all have flaws, honey. We all have flaws. I promise. I know what it's like when ego gets like that in the way. I can handle it, I can handle it, I can handle it. Turns out, I can't. That's what happens when you're continuously in a position of power. You really start to get comfortable with thinking you can handle everything, except the stuff that you want the most. And that's where we start screwing up. And that's when we start denying ourselves, and that's when we stop speaking our truth. Some of you have a pattern or history. It's like, well, if I don't speak to that, and I shouldn't have to, by the way, then it can't be true. Those devil parts of me don't exist. I don't push shit away. I don't do that. I just leave it alone. If it's too confrontational, because that's confrontation energy. If it's too confrontational, fuck that. I don't owe anyone an explanation. I'll just let it drift on by. When you do that, the more you do that, actually, the more it pisses you off. See, that's where Get False Pride comes in. I don't have to address that. I don't owe anybody a damn explanation. That might well be true. But what about you? Do you owe yourself an explanation? About looking at yourself when things go wrong? Or when you deny yourself? No. All those old patterns and fears are behind me. I don't have to speak to them. Unless, of course, they're wreaking havoc in your present day. So, the Virgo I'm looking at, the way you want to move forward is to just have everybody see the best of you and none of the worst of you. Like you're not a flawed human being. That's just not going to work. It's not going to work. That Ten of Swords, critical lessons that you need to learn. Something about endings and or pain. Show me that Ten of Swords. Show me that Ten of Swords, please. Show me that Ten of Swords. Show me that Ten of Swords. It's almost like there's a weird, twisted sort of sense of guilt in here. Ace of Wands, Five of Cups, the High Priestess. Critical lessons that need to be learned. You feel intuitively that if you feel too strongly about anything, it'll hurt you. It's hard for you to define it. It's hard for you to explain it. So it's just easier not to, right? I don't owe anybody an explanation about what I do or why I do it. I'm in charge, and that's what matters. I'm in control. I'm a strong spiritual being, and I'm a loyal one, and I'm a respected one, and that's what I want people to see. Not my faults, and not things I've done in the past, and that shit doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've processed it. If you've accepted that you've done things or said things, okay? And you've accepted it, you've incorporated it, and you say, I did those things, I said those things, and you take ownership of it, and then, yeah, you don't owe an explanation to anybody. Know that it's part of you, and that you've incorporated it, and that you won't go into that again, okay? That's when it's not a problem. It is a problem if you're like, you know what, all that shit's in the past, I'm going to draw a line under it, I'm not going to process it, think about it, or look at it, and then we're going to end up repeating it. So I know you have a difficult history with forcing yourself to move on from things you're not actually ready to move on from because the feelings make you uncomfortable, okay? And they stress you out and they make you anxious. And because it provokes all those negative feelings, you're like, well, how do I control that? I know. I'll just leave it there, act like it didn't happen, move on from it. I won't address it. I won't speak to it. In fact, it doesn't bother me at all. Just see these parts, please. I think the Virgo I'm looking at is very hard for people to get to know the real you. I am convinced of it. You are so adamant about what it is people are allowed to see you versus the real you, the one that's actually had real problems. Ones that had real experiences, many of which you forcibly left behind and say they don't matter, or you've discounted them because it seemed like an unsolvable situation. And also there's a pride element in here that's quite strong that says if I don't talk about it, and I shouldn't have to, I'll be fine. Just don't do it again, and this is what people are allowed to see. So there's the operating Virgo that everyone sees, who is experienced, spiritual, someone who is loyal and stable, hard worker, and accomplished. And then there's this Virgo that's on the inside that's crippling with frustration, self-doubt, anxiety, mistakes made, but we won't acknowledge those mistakes. We don't see how they're playing out in the present day and how they might affect us in the future, okay? Your lesson here, all right? Your lesson here in the Ten of Swords, Ace of Wands, the High Priestess, the Five of Cups. Intuitively, we seem to be prepared to reject. You feel this in some way. Intuitively, you feel prepared to reject that which provokes the most feeling in you. And that it always seems to result in endings, because it does. When you carry around unresolved pain and hurt and frustration, yes, all your new beginnings are going to be marked with an ending. Did you notice that? The Virgo I'm looking at says there's a little pattern here. Whenever there's an injection of new, an infusion of new, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, intuitively you feel like it's going to end before it even begins. And that's because you are correct. There seems to be something to do with strong feeling and newness that both attracts you and repels you simultaneously. The stuff that's solid and you know works, that's what you want everyone to see. I have no doubt that in real life you have very strong A game and people relying on you heavily. That's what you want people to see. You can trust me. I work hard. Note my accomplishments, please. I've been doing this all my life. Yes. And you've been doing something else all your life too. Avoiding confrontation. And avoiding anything that makes you too excited or makes you feel too deeply. That's what you don't want people to see. And then to top it off, when you miss out on these opportunities, when you miss out on these real, raw, authentic feelings, well, you say, fuck it. Doesn't matter anyway. Push it away. Don't do it again. No new anything. Just what's established. That's what I know works. Without actually integrating faults, flaws, insecurities, pride. Okay. I shouldn't have to address it. I shouldn't have to explain myself. Okay. For Joe Schmo you just met on the street? Yeah, that's none of their business. What about you? You owe it to yourself to look at the things that you've avoided and why. Why you won't address them, why you won't confront them. Why do you forcibly let things go when actually you're not ready to let them go at all? In fact, you're quite angry and frustrated by several things that haven't worked out, but you won't address it. This is a lesson you need to learn. Intuitively, you feel the loss of something no matter how new it presents itself, how strong the feeling is. You sense the loss of it almost immediately because you're prepared to give up that new thing almost immediately. Even when it feels strong or right, you feel like you're going to give it up anyway, that it was doomed to fail. You're afraid of being hurt, honey. So you take it out on you. This is you taking all your losses, frustrations, and pain out on you. Okay? And because there's a lot of pain and unresolved pain, I might add, behind you, what you do put yourself up for is validation of accomplishments. Okay, there might be a lot of things I failed at and I have a lot of pain that's unresolved, and I put a lot of what makes me happy behind me, and I bury it under the moon because I'm not comfortable with it. Apparently, if it feels too strong, I feel like it's just going to end or hurt me anyway. So at least everybody else, as far as concerned, can rely on me for these things. So give me credit for that. I do. But you're not giving credit to you. These are lessons you need to learn because I see your energy picking up. And if you are going to assume anything that feels good is automatically just going to hurt you or be strenuous or a pain in your ass, that you're eventually going to have to forcibly leave it and act like it never happened. Act like it never happened. Then you'll do it again. So if you really want to move on into more positive energies where you have a chance to open up more into ways that feel good and natural to you, you're going to have to acknowledge where you came from. Why is it you won't acknowledge the stuff that didn't work out? Why won't you acknowledge the stuff that pisses you off? Why won't you acknowledge the stuff that frustrates you and angers you? Because all you're doing is taking it out on you. That's what unresolved feelings are. We think it's about them, or this situation, they fucked me over, or my job fucked me over, the boss fucked me over, or my ex fucked me over. We're not thinking about how we fucked ourselves over first. It's so much easier to go external and be like, it's that fault, their fault. Duh. I'm pissed off with them, but I don't dare say it because then I might be wrong. So I'm just going to be like, check that shit, move on from it, and act like I don't care. And we have a little pattern of this too. Your sense of accomplishment and wanting realistic validation for your accomplishments is real. And so too are all your negative feelings that are behind it. I know you've been through some shit. So do yourself the favor and courtesy of acknowledging that instead of acting like it didn't happen. I'm saying this again because your future past says you're going to have some energetic pickup soon. That you are going to generally be excited for something again soon. And if you really want to move on, move your energy forward in a way that's positive, you're going to have to embrace your negative. Sometimes you have to get confrontational with yourself. Sometimes you have to get confrontational with other people. You know what? You legitimately pissed me off. And typically what I would do is I would ignore it because I don't know how to requite those feelings within me. I don't know how to collectively bring them together. to express it, and since I can't, and it frustrates me, and I don't want to be like that, I'm just going to exit. Sometimes you have to fight for yourself. Sometimes you have to speak the negative words. Sometimes you have to take ownership of uncomfortable actions. It's the only way we can really resolve those fights in us. And that's the only real way we can make sure we don't do it again. Not just saying, you know what, that was a bad experience, I'll never do it again. Fuck that. I don't have to speak towards nothing. There's an excellent guarantee that it'll happen again. That's the lesson learned here, or needs to be learned. So yeah, I'm very curious about this Knight of Wands. You're showing me, and I've already seen what you do with your sense of self-happiness. You shove it under the moon. You shove it under the moon. Like, I can't control that. And it probably, you know, when I have strong feelings for something, I always get fucked over, so I'd rather just not. And the Knight of Wands is genuine excitement. That's genuine energy. Sometimes it's sexual, yes, but for the most part, it's just, I'm excited. And I've seen what you do with your sense of self. So you've got a rush of energy coming in. King of Cups, Seven of Wands, the Lovers, and I'm telling you, it takes the form, motherfucker. It takes the form of a very strong connection. Very strong. It's coming. And I already see you showing me a willingness to block it. And it's strong, but you're excited by it. You want it. You want it bad. But you've already got your guard up. And it hasn't even come in yet. This one's got real feelings attached to it. King of Cups, Scorpio energy. The Lovers, Gemini doesn't have to be. But I can tell you right now that is literally heart and soul, as well as passion. It's coming. If you want the best of what this life and love has to offer, you have to be willing to embrace those parts of you that you don't like. You're gonna have to integrate your experiences. That means owning them. Not just, this is what I want you to see. Validation, please, for this, just for this. Cut me a check just for this energy. I understand your positive validation. It is real and authentic, but then so too is everything else that preceded it. You can't just show the world, honey, look at me for this and not for this. You will always be discounting yourself. You will always be undermining your own efforts. You will never really be taking yourself seriously. Ever. If you do not come to terms with the fact that when you feel something intensely, it makes you feel insecure, unsafe, out of control, and you will shut it down. That whenever you are in a position of being confrontational with yourself or with someone else, you move away from it and you're still angry. You know why? Because you didn't speak up for yourself. You can't carry this with you and act like it won't affect your future decisions. So if you really want to move on into what looks like a powerful connection, and it's coming in, it catches your attention immediately. You are strongly attracted to it. And I already see you've got your freaking guard up. I don't even know if it's come in yet. Then you will continue to do the same. I've seen what you've done with your sense of self-pleasure. I've seen what you've done when you're marked with excitement and energy. You already feel the loss of it before it even has a chance to unfold. What you desire so much, that feeling, I'm a part of something, and I feel strongly towards it, so I'm going to assume the worst and shut it down. Not engage with it, and don't get confrontational. Not really understanding what I want, and I'm rejecting it before I even have a chance to understand it. If you really want to move on, you have got to look at these things, because I got something coming in for you, honey. And it is not random. It's rather sizable. You are genuinely excited. Strong lover's connection with the fullness of heart. And I already see you being defensive, and it hasn't even had a chance to introduce itself yet. You want it. If you want to move on to something this bold and this beautiful, you have to be more self-claiming. About your strengths, yes. I know what you want people to see in you. You've done a damn good job of it. And then there's a fuck ton of shit behind you that you don't want people to see about you. Failures are only failures if we don't learn from them. And you seem to think, well, if I just ignore it, or I won't go back to that, that constitutes a clean slate and it won't happen again. No. That's a guaranteed recipe to make sure we do it again. If you want someone to love you this much or have that kind of strong connection, they need to see all the parts of you, not just the ones you want them to see. The Virgo that's had failures, like everyone's had failures. The Virgo that's experienced rejection when they didn't want to. Everybody does. The Virgo who didn't make investments in love when they wanted to, or they felt it because they shut it down, it was too scary, or it was too hard. We've all done that. I don't want you to reject this. And your energy is already primed to block it. Despite how fast, and that's a good intention, that's a good heart, strong bond. I don't know when it will present itself, but it seems to be on your future timeline. I do not know if that is a lover you have yet to meet, or if it's one that you already know. I don't know. Those strong lovers connections could be one or the other. There might be some activity around June, but if you're already expecting the worst or you're already expecting an ending, you will indeed get one before it even has a chance to take shape, regardless if you know them or not. I'm not quite sure. Let's get some advice, please. Let's get some advice. So yes, we need to take assess of the situation, specifically you. Look how much look how much you've managed to construct. That part you have no problem being visible with. The parts of you that are not so comfortable, okay? The one that walks away from uncomfortable feelings. The one who will not confront when they are frustrated or angry. The one that rejects before they can be rejected. The one who denies themselves that which makes them happy. I don't want that for you. But it's coming up on your future timeline. So if you really want to move on into a glorious connection that pretty much fits you like a glove and someone who meets you with a full heart, you are going to have to get more comfortable with your shadow side. How do I hold me back? Why do I avoid confrontation? Why do I feel like I don't have to explain myself to anyone? How come I always feel like I have to keep the best parts of me hidden and not just my worst parts? The best parts of you are in there too, honey. The best parts of you are in there too. I know there's that glossy storefront that's actually quite strong, quite beautiful. You want validation for that, very much so. Every day. Look how steadfast I am. But on the inside, you have all these insecurities you don't want anyone to see. And it's those same insecurities that get in your way every fucking time. And then you tell yourself it doesn't matter. It's probably best left behind anyway. Advice, please, for Virgo. Advice, please, for Virgo. Advice, please, for Virgo. Sit up straight. Two of Pentacles, Two of Swords, Queen of Wands. You stop acting like you can't see or feel what it is that you actually see and feel. You're insisting upon confusion. Those are the two worst cards in my opinion. Those two assholes wreak so much havoc. The Two of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. I hate them both. They are within my top 5 of all-time hated cards. Now, it's not the cards themselves. The cards are the cards. They're inanimate objects. That's the energy they represent. And I hate this. I fucking hate this. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Hot foot. Cold foot. Hot foot. Cold foot. I'm doing something. I'm doing nothing. I want to invest. No, I don't. I don't know what to do. Hot and cold. Yes or no. Two of Swords. I can't see any of it. I can't see what I'm doing. I can't see my inconsistencies. I can't see my ability to invest or not to invest. I have no idea what you're talking about, Christina. Those are the worst two. And yet you're feeling so strong. It's like you literally talk yourself. This is literally talking yourself out of and contributing to any real thought or emotion or any real 3D energy into the stuff you feel most strongly about. And it has nothing to do with your spiritual or work accomplishments. You want the Virgo I'm looking at. You want what you want, and then you act like you don't. The stuff that provokes the strongest feeling in you scares you the most. It seems to be outside of this concept of control of yourself. Those feelings are too strong, I can't control those. Push under the moon, my feelings aren't important. How strongly I react to something or someone isn't important. It's just going to end in fucking misery. So what's the point? I'd rather people just see a hardworking, dedicated, loyal Virgo and get my kudos from that and nothing else. I don't want anyone to see me trying too hard, wanting too much. There's a guilt in there, I can't quite see it. There's something in there that makes you feel guilty for wanting too much. I'm really fucking close to it, but I can't pin it down. There's a guilt in here for wanting too much, desiring too much, when I should just be praised for my efforts, my dedication, and loyalty. Fuck my personal happiness. I shouldn't have to explain myself when I reject things. This will not do. Your advice is to get really fucking clear. And I'll tell you why. You're having a strong energetic connection soon, if you haven't already. It's putting you straight on the path to someone with a full heart and a very strong love connection as the lovers. You want it. I already see you got your hairs raised about it, the Seven of Wands. If we continue to act blind, we will get blind results. If we continue to act like we don't know what to do, we will continue to not know what to do. Yet the Queen of Wands is rock and roll, man. She knows what she wants and she blazes her trails accordingly. So you need to know what you want. If you want to move on, if you really want to feel those big feelings, you want the connection, mind blown of a lifetime, we need to start looking at our patterns here. You are more than what you can provide, and you should take more pride in yourself than just what it is you can provide and what you have managed to accomplish. There's so much more to life than that, honey. What is it you have not accomplished here on a personal level? Some of y'all might have had some tricky patterns in the past. It doesn't apply to you now. And maybe that's why you put on such a strong face. See me for this. See me for this. I'm a strong pillar to my community. I'm a strong pillar to my... Give me credit for that. Not for any past bullshit. My weaknesses or my failures. Weaknesses and failures speak strongly to who we are. It depends if we learned from it. I got a connection here that's meant for you. It's powerful for you. But if you don't know that it's yours, and if you don't know or acknowledge that you want it, you will by default not have it. Some of you think it's a matter of test or willpower. Test or willpower what? Talk yourself out of happiness, love, and fucking joy? Talk yourself out of your own sense of self-pleasure, self-needs? King of Swords. Ten of Wands. We need to take critical, and I mean critical, evaluation of all our losses, all our hardships, everything we've ever broken from. Why? Stop telling me it doesn't matter, just move on. That's the wrong kind of moving on. The real kind of moving on says, this is where I come from, this is what I've learned from it, and I'm really connected to it mentally, I'm connected to it spiritually, and I'm connected to it emotionally. And some of you have not gone there, not spiritually or emotionally. Mentally, I see the toughness in you to just move on regardless of what happens, and that you shouldn't have to explain yourself, and you would avoid confrontation. We need to do the opposite of that. I need to get some critical thinking in here about your 10 of Wands, your 5 of Pentacles, and your 10 of Swords. Everything you've ever broken from. Why? Where does it come from? How did it affect you? What was your part that you played in it? That's a lot of massive endings and disappointments. I know some of you have been abandoned. I know some of you have abandoned others. I know some of you have bad patterns that have attached to your past and you don't want anyone to see in you in present day. I understand that. But just because you hide it doesn't mean you've dealt with it. Hiding and dealing with things are two different things. And when I see you, it's time for you to get confrontational with yourself, you hide. And then you say it doesn't matter, I just won't do it again. That doesn't help you. It does not help. And the reason I'm being so serious with you is because I got a connection for you that's phenomenal. I don't think it's introduced itself yet. Or possibly come back around again with the Lovers connections. There's a good chance you know them. It's a soul bond thing. It's just at a very higher form. We're going to do it again. If we don't know what we want, we're just going to recreate the same damage and the same pain and that same sense of abandonment, or inevitably this is just going to hurt me. It's time to stop running from ourselves. It's time to stop running from the choices made. It's time to stop running from our past histories. And damn, your energy for that is instantaneous, but if you expect the worst, honey, you're going to get the worst, and I don't want that from you. So if you really want to move on, if you really want to get in touch with makes you happy, if you want the love of your life, you're going to have to start getting square with you. I don't diminish your accomplishments at all. What you really want people to see you for, I see it. That's not faked. That's real. The Hermit, 8 of Pentacles, the 6 of Wands, your accomplishments are real and valid. This is real. I don't diminish that. That's what you want people to give you kudos for, not your faults or your failures. You don't want it held against you, and you also don't want to hear, I told you so. That's pride talking. You don't need to hear, I told you so from anybody, but you do need to hear it from you. If you really believe everything that makes you feel very, very strongly is just going to end in failure, then you are indeed correct, because you're convinced of it. But you sitting here thinking I don't have to address it or look at it or ever think about it again, that is what's going to continue this pattern on. If you want to move on from that and embrace what looks like something that is all rights tailor-made to you, you're going to have to get confrontational with you. Told you, moving on is going to be a bit more of a, it's all about you. No one else to blame. No one else to hide from. So if this is something that's uncomfortable to you, you were hoping to hear everything that was the best and not the worst, this is what real moving on, self-ownership, tarot energy is. Let me make this clear. You want love. And for those of you, FYI, just a whiff of this, I can't say for certainty. For some of you who already are in commitments, I got news for you. You're not fucking happy. There. I said it. Go ahead and yell at me all you want. I don't give a fuck. Real tarot is real life. In which case, I congratulate you. Because you've gotten very far with so little love. At least of all, love from yourself. I didn't want to say that, but I did. I often come under these conflicts. I see things that I know you can't. And I have the obligation, the duty to report. That would explain why you slap yourself so hard about moving on and not addressing difficult things. Sometimes it feels like you're already defeated because you're in something else, in which case, congratulations for putting in such beautiful energy that you, by all rights, deserve to be recognized for, but love isn't one of them. To fulfill your own sense of happiness makes you feel guilty, and that's the thread I was picking up on. And that would also explain why this King of Swords has to critically look at what looks like something that needs to be cut out and or abandoned. You're afraid to do unto someone else that was done unto you. Yes. That's for some of you. I don't know when. Call it Gemini season, which is late May to late June. You have to know you want it. You have to know that you deserve it. You have to know that whoever this is packing a big heart space. And that's one of the reasons you're very strongly attracted to them. They provoke in you those feelings that you say don't matter. Eternal love. Secret admirer, celebration. Someone, again, I'm defaulting to you. Secretly admire somebody. We're looking for a reason to celebrate and or connect with them. They do represent an energy of eternal love. Again, I don't know if you've met them yet, but at some point you become aware of who they are. Perhaps you already do, and you admire this person. And we're looking for a reason to celebrate and or connect with them. Okay? They do represent a full heart space when it comes to you. They just seem to know that they love you. I'm not trying to make it about them or they. They just seem to know that they love you, or that you've already heard that from them. I love you, and I know I love you, something like that. I don't know. There's an important conversation about success. Again, we're looking for a reason to celebrate. And you also want the recognition for you, but it's looking like a mutual celebration. Congratulations to you, no congratulations to you. Congratulations to you, no congratulations to you. Something like that. It's kind of like a soft entry to a bigger conversation, I believe. Vivid dreams. We have vivid dreams about our feelings. Possibly this person who comes across so strongly. There's fear and anxiety. There it is. That's what I was trying to get, that thread with the fear and anxiety. Third party interference, possibly. Third party does not have to be automatically someone who is outside the bounds of somebody's relationship. Third party could be anyone who gives us poor advice, like say a well-intended friend or family member, in which case they're third party interference. Well, I know you have really strong feelings about it, Virgo, but you know it's probably not going to work out, and it's well-intended advice, but it can often wreak havoc on us if we take it as law or word without listening to ourselves. So that could be third party as well. But there's that anxiety, the fear and anxiety here about the stress of opening up and investing in a love, quite possibly here, because, yeah, for some of you, you are in some sort of committed structure. And in which case, I don't like what it does to you. It makes you deny things that you naturally feel, and one of them being staying in something because you feel you have to, or it's your responsibility. There's a generous offer in here. Don't quite know what that is. Abundance is near. For some of you, will be, well, no shit, increasing your work activity and possibly your coin. A generous offer, destined, busy and distracted. It feels like there's a destiny energy here, but we're always so busy and distracted from it, we can't listen to ourselves. It's not convenient. It should be out of my life anyway. There's no room for it. Something like that. So in order for you to move on and really feel what it is that you want to feel and connect in the way you want to connect, you have to know that you want it. And that means really opening up with your faults and how they're connected and how they're related. We can't just take ownership of our accomplishments. We have to take ownership of all our parts of ourselves. The stuff that makes us uncomfortable is what the stuff we need to look at the most, you know? I don't know. I'm very... It seems like whatever this is either introducing itself sometime possibly over the next month, or it's being reintroduced either by you or by them, but I'm not focusing again on them. I'm assuming it's you. Okay? There's that fear and anxiety, Nine of Swords again, and that Ace of Wands. The stress surrounding that opportunity is real. Possibly any sort of new opportunity. Nevertheless, it's the very thing we try to avoid is what we crave the most. And it's the big feelings. Okay? Okay, I think that's enough of that. Where are we in time? Oh, I didn't think it was all that, but there you are. Assess the situation. And in moving on, in these uncomfortable feelings, and you feeling fragmented and not completely whole, is because you seem to reject the parts of you that you're the most uncomfortable with and feel that you don't have to explain or really understand. It's just kind of like, leave it behind me, and I don't need to think about it again. I just won't do it again. That's not helping. And I really want you to move on from that thinking and become more integrated with yourself, because something is coming up for you. It's literally under your future pathway. It's either re-emerging as a strong connection you've known before, or it's a brand new one. Either way, it's strong. Okay? You want it. In all the right ways. You do. But you gotta know that. I can't tell you that. You have to know that. You have to know it. I can't afford to be blind, or I don't know what to do. If we always walk around feeling and assuming everything that sparks us up, ignites us, is just going to cause pain and end up in an ending, we will indeed make that happen. If we always feel the need to control our emotions and therefore ourselves and what it is we want, we will always remain forever separated from ourselves, and what we want, one plays into the other. This is the way of it. And for others of you, some of you simply refuse to acknowledge or look at because it causes fear in you. There's an ending here that should have taken place a long time ago. And it makes you stay out of feeling guilt for leaving it, that you would be exiting for the wrong reasons. It's happened before, so I won't entertain that thought. I'll do my best to put on a really damn good show of life for everybody, but inside I'm fucking miserable. Yeah, I would say it's time to assess the situation. Virgo, honey, told you, these ones are a bit more difficult. Do you have the power within you to address these very things? Absolutely. If you have the power to push away these topics with such ferociousness and all the energy that comes along with it in denying what we're thinking and feeling and what our patterns are like, if you can put that much energy into denying them, you can put as much energy into addressing them. They both take work. It takes as much energy to deny as it does to accept. It's just a matter of what benefits you most. To act like these things don't happen, or that they do, and that there's a reason behind them, and we need to learn those reasons. Okay, I'll see you in a couple weeks. I'm not sure what the reading type will be. It will either be yours and theirs, or possibly intimate tarot, since people have expressed, or rather I should say politely demanded that I increase the frequency of that. So It's going to be one of those two things. Do you have the power to really move on from your patterns? Forcing uncomfortable things to go away? You do. You have to believe that, though. This is where the real hard work comes in, boys and girls. Confrontation of the self. Everybody, I mean everybody. Everybody and their mother to little cousin Jimmy. Everybody says, I'm moving on. It doesn't affect me. I'm over it. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. And yet they seem to move forward in the same circular pattern. Not everybody is prepared to move on as they think they are. It requires work. It requires tears. It requires being uncomfortable. And only when you know those feelings, and you've had true revelations and insights, the ones that you've been dodging like bullets, then you will have an idea of what moving on is. Just forcing yourself not to think about uncomfortable things is not moving on. That's just putting our head in the sand. You want to move on? Prove it. Do the work. I got something in here that suggests you should be preparing yourself sooner rather than later. And it will be a verification of you going after what you want instead of denying it. So put it from that point of view. I hope you get ready for it because it wants to be ready for you. I hope you see the seriousness on my face, Virgo. That's real. It's something we've been hoping for. Okay, for reals this time. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Put in the comments. Take care. Be well.